Hello, this is Brian at New Rochelle, and I want to do my self-reflection for this Makerspace class. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to go into my reasons why. I want to start by saying, number one, right now, a lot of ideas are buzzing around in my head because I thought I was going to be taking a position that was not a library media specialist position, but hopefully had an opportunity to do some making. And now, as a library media specialist in the city, I feel like I have a lot more opportunities and resources available to me. So a lot of ideas are buzzing around. So to begin, how am I going to translate it into my space? I just saw the space, and unfortunately, not everything is covered with books. Um, but I think there's also a lot of space for me to start collecting materials, and I want to store them in a clean, clear space that is accessible to students, but also secure. And then I want to start creating instructional projects and extracurricular opportunities that make the library not only accessible to students, but get students learning and excited and want to come into the space and access information as well as make. So how do I see a connection between making and my program? Getting students into the library and getting them using the library in making and in accessing information, I feel is just two sides of the same coin. So if we can get them motivated, I personally think that making serves this purpose. Making is student learning at its most accessible and memorable. If students remember it, I think they're going to feel empowered and they're going to feel creative so that they can tackle more things. So what are the opportunities, barriers, options, alternatives to incorporating the maker mindset? This school is open to new ideas, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Students seem receptive to using technology and experimenting with it. I also heard, at least from the principal during the interview, that there is a culture of extracurricular activities. Now, here are my concerns below. I am going to be a first year library media specialist teacher, and I am going to be the only library media specialist teacher. So I feel like I need to play a very conservative and very focused role the first year of getting to understand my collection and doing the daily activities within the library. But I want to make sure that media comes in. I do not know all the ins and outs of the school and its politics, so I'm going to be trying to figure that out. Who can I engage with? Who can I get as an ally? And who can I encourage to start helping me to bring in students to get kids excited? And two, a lot of students come from outside of the community where this is gonna where the school is. So particularly with middle school students, some parents might be a little bit more reserved on letting their kids come later from school, especially if they're going into neighborhoods that are not as nice as that one. So I need to figure out, it's a lot about figuring out how do we capitalize with the time that we get to support students. So how will I question those who say, why making? First thing, I want to create digital portfolios that are going to document student engagement and learning to make the most compelling argument. I'm going to try to showcase it not only within the library, but find other opportunities to say, when you see what's happening within your content classroom, this is what we did with making. I want to make these projects need to engage students and go beyond simple arts and crafts. So we're going to be looking for ways to embed makerspace activities into curriculum goals and also to incorporate technology. So how do we go from there? Who am I going to list to help me? Teachers, that's making connections so that they're doing lessons within the classroom. Students, building relationships, finding out who are the people who are going to encourage others to be makers. I always need the support of administration. Two, parents who feel that their students are learning and doing good stuff in this classroom in the makerspace are going to help me custodians, because if I try to build something and it's not with the support of custodians, I feel like it's going to get taken down. But number two, I'm hoping to gain resources, such as recycled materials and other things like that. It's going to, and getting custodians on board, I think is important, critical. But what I want to see is anyone who is invested in students making within the community. I want to find some way to engage them and to create projects that are going to help students make for the community. And with that, I'm going to think about doing possible donors choose campaign or doing some grant writing. I feel this class made me want to do that. So what are some of the relationships I want to build with colleagues and community members? I think that the technology teacher is a critical relationship. They're already teaching students how to use Java and JavaScript. I want to make sure that programming, computing, and robotics is seen as an extension, not a redundancy. Because that happened at a former school. I was like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this with programming. And they said, we already have a class in Scratch. And okay, Scratch is good, but it's, pardon the pun, only scratching the surface. I want to get content teachers on board and tell them that this is a unique space where we're going to facilitate making and we're going to get kids an opportunity to do more advanced making. So that's the reason, another reason why to come to the library. I already feel that my principal is an ally because what he was looking for was things like Makerspace. The former library media specialist ran a tight ship, and while she kept an incredibly, impeccably well-run library, the teacher is looking to add in more elements like makerspaces and other forms of technology because we live in a digital world as well. So what resources do I already have? This is something I need to figure out in greater detail. However, I know we have 2 outstanding labs and iPads. Next, I know that there is a technology class and a lot of students are engaged in it. Students are interested in the library because the principal was telling me about, number one, the growing graphic novel collection, and two, some of the projects that students were asking for, like have like a mini Comic Con or something like that. So I have the space to grow. And he also wants to renovate the library. So I will hopefully see some changes soon, and Makerspace can be integral in building into that. I think one of the biggest things that I got out of this was learning about the maker mindset and learning a lot about constructivist philosophy in education. And I feel like as I've learned more about makerspaces and I've learned more about things like Montessori, why I feel so passionate about it. And I feel that in these situations, it's going to change my role in the classroom and how I can build up a lesson and then step aside so that students can learn and do inquiry independently. I feel I have a greater picture of what makerspaces are and how to run them safely. So I'm looking to get more context by getting into the library and doing more with them. So what are the objectives that I'm struggling with? When I get to this school and I start this position, how do I hit the ground running is my first question. And a lot of that goes beyond making. If I get started in a maker program, if I started a maker program, do I need to create a bigger curriculum? So as I was trying to get the 3 interrelated projects, I struggled to make connections thematically about what I would do. And to extend that over the potential of a year is something I really need to think about. So 2 things I need to consider. Do I need to make something more scaffolded? Should I be purchasing lessons, possibly, just to get a basic structure? Or should I be looking for student interest? What do I still want to know? I want to get into more coding, more physical programming and robotics. I know the school's technology program does Java and JavaScript, so I want to find out new ways to incorporate that into the curriculum. I want to keep maintaining my P&L textbook, and I leave this class with so many great makerspace ideas. Thank you so much for your time. and I can't wait to keep making with students.